It began with a flight that never made it home. Flight 739, a routine trip from London to Toronto, carrying 47 passengers and 6 crew members. One moment, it was a blip on the radar. The next, it was gone. No distress signal. No wreckage. Just silence. For a decade, the case was filed away, marked unsolved. The families grieved. The airline issued its apologies, and the world, as it always does, moved on. Time buried the story beneath newer headlines, newer tragedies. But then, something impossible happened. 10 years later, during a deep-sea data recovery project near the coast of Greenland, a sonar operator picked up a strange signal. It was a faint, rhythmic ping, repeating in intervals too structured to be natural. Following the sound, the team discovered the wreckage of a downed aircraft trusted, torn apart by the ocean, but eerily preserved. The serial number on its tail confirmed what no one could believe. It was Flight 739. When the recovery team found the cockpit voice recorder, the black box, it was covered in barnacles, but otherwise undamaged. This alone was unheard of after a decade submerged in the crushing pressure of the deep sea. The device was sent to London for examination, handed over to the Civil Aviation Bureau. And that's where the real story, the one that never made the news, truly began. The engineers gathered in a sterile, soundproofed room to play back the final cockpit recording. The first 37 minutes were exactly what they expected. Routine pilot, chatter, altitude reports, warnings about minor turbulence. It was all normal. Then, a sudden burst of static. Then, a long, unnerving silence. And then, a voice. It was a voice that didn't belong. It wasn't the pilot, not the co-pilot. It wasn't on the passenger manifest. It was someone or something else. At first, it whispered faintly, like a broken transmission struggling to break through the noise. Then, it became clearer. Chillingly clear. It said, "You shouldn't have found us." Everyone in the room froze. The lead audio engineer rewound the tape and played it again. The same phrase echoed through the speakers, spoken in the same calm, almost human whisper, buried just beneath the static. They ran the file through advanced spectral analysis, hoping to find an explanation, but what they found only deepened the mystery. The timestamp of that specific record in the digital clock, embedded deep in the black box S, memory was dated 3 days asterisk. After asterisk, the plane had officially crashed. It was impossible. The black box's battery life is only 30 days, and it should have stopped recording long before then. One of the lead investigators, a seasoned veteran named Jonathan Miles, was deeply unsettled. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something. Convinced it was some kind of elaborate hoax, or a bizarre form of radio interference, he took a copy of the audio file home that night. He had to understand it. He sat in his study for hours, listening to that single phrase over and over again, his headphones pressed tight against his ears. But around 3 in the morning, as he rewound the file for what felt like the 100th time, something new emerged from the static. The voice changed. It wasn't whispering anymore. It spoke a single word, with perfect clarity. "Jonathan." He ripped the headphones off, his heart pounding in his chest. His name, his own name, spoken clearly on a recording from a plane that had crashed a decade ago. He scrambled to unplug his headphones and turned off the monitor, desperate for the silence. But as the screen faded to black, he swore he saw a reflection that was on his own staring back at him from the dark glass. A distorted face, just for a second. The next morning, Jonathan Miles didn't show up for work. When his colleagues couldn't reach him, they called the police. His front door was found locked from the inside. They found him in his study. His computer was still on, playing the final seconds of that black box recording on a loop, over and over. On the table beside him, a single handwritten note. "It's not a recording, it's a signal." When the other investigators re-examined the audio file from Jonathan's computer, the voice was gone. The entire section was blank, replaced by simple, empty static. There was no timestamp anomaly, no whisper, no name, nothing. The official report concluded that the file had suffered audio corruption due to data degradation over time. The black box was sealed in an evidence bag and archived in a high-security government vault, never to be opened again. The case of Flight 739 was officially closed, for good this time. But some stories don't stay buried. A young intern who handled the final transfer of the evidence claims that sometimes, when he works late, he hears something coming from the storage room where the black box is kept. A faint, electronic static that seems to pulse with a strange rhythm. Every time it starts, he says, it sounds almost like someone breathing. And if you dare to listen close enough, you might still hear it. Whisper, you shouldn't have found us. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another descent into the dark. Until next time, stay safe.